Hello there, you're now with me, Cheryl Shamato, for TVS English News at 5. Let's begin with the headlines. The new 2023 budget, expected to be tabled this February 24, will take into account the manifestos of all parties in the unity government. Deputy Minister of Finance Datuk Sri Ahmad Maslan said a special secretariat for the new budget has been established to examine and study the manifestos to be included in the budget.
Speaking at a press conference during his working visit to the Kemaman office of the Royal Malaysian Custom Department, JKDM, earlier today, Ahmad said some improvements will also be considered in the new budget to ensure it meets the people's needs and agenda. He also said the government would continue with some of the initiatives made by the previous administration in its 2023 budget, such as the assistance of 150 ringgit to every school student regardless of family income, which will be disbursed beginning this January 12. The previous government, led by the former Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, had tabled the 2023 budget, but it was not passed nor debated in the Dewan Rakyat following the dissolution of Parliament on October 10th.
The world's battle against COVID-19 saw countries locking down, international borders seizing, and tourism activities restricted, thus impacting the global economy. As the surge of infections are a concern for most, highly transmissible variants of the virus are circulating further over the years. China recently saw explosions of COVID cases following Beijing's decision to lift strict restrictions. However, medical officer for the National COVID-19 Immunization Program for Bawat Division, Dr. Jowd Sim, ensured that efforts are still being made by the public health sector in an approach gearing towards preparedness.
Commenting further, Dr. Jarrod also lauded the find, test, trace, isolate and support FTTIS approach made by the Ministry of Health as a basic measure that is necessary for the public.
COVID cases are rising and statistics are showing that we are more susceptible towards the new strain itself. The Ministry of Health has taken measures in line with what we have been facing since 2019, whereby the newborn era of COVID. And therefore, the most important thing is we must protect ourselves. And that is by the concept of TRIIS, which is to test if we have symptoms, to report in MySejahtera, to inform, to isolate ourselves, and also to seek for help if needed, especially healthcare. These are the basic things that we should actually advise our close friends, family members. The precautionary steps that all the public health sectors can take is not very far apart from what we have been doing before.
As such, he urged the public to replenish their antibodies through booster dose uptakes to reduce the severity of infections and the risk of hospitalization. He added it is still crucial to boost one's immunity after a certain period of time.
Last but not least, get yourself boosted with the COVID vaccine. The main reason of getting yourself boosted is actually to ensure that your body gets another dose of antibody spike. As we know from studies, after a period of 3 months or so, your antibody does begin to drop. The booster aims to help your body to stimulate antibodies so that you will have an immunity and to ensure that even if you do get COVID, you will not face in a severe or a serious form requiring admission to the hospital. And also, this will help to prevent or actually reduce long COVID syndrome.
He also stressed that living with the virus is seen as a norm, but to curb the seriousness resulting from transmission and mutation should be targeted.
My take on the current situation is that Malaysians in a whole, we know what is COVID. We have been battling with it. Now, we only have to live with it. But living with it does not mean that you must get infected and you are immune from it. It is like living with your influenza. We get yearly influenza jab because we know there's a mutation. Same as COVID, we get ourselves boosted because we need the antibody. Even if it's not, it's still in studies, but we know that having some antibody is better than none. I would advise everybody to get their booster, to replenish or build your antibody again to prevent yourself, if you do get infected, from getting into a severe form of COVID.
In a statement earlier on Monday, the MOH stated it will continue to step up its preparedness to face a possible hike in the number of daily COVID-19 cases and deaths following the surge of infections in China. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said among the measures to be taken was to increase the percentage of booster dose uptake to reduce the severity of infections and the risk of death. The MOH had also introduced the use of the antiviral drug Paxlovid to the COVID-19 clinical care pathway since April 15 to treat patients with mild to moderate symptoms or categories 2 and 3, with priority given to high-risk patients.
On to the next update. 3 men have been arrested for allegedly attempting to smuggle prohibited items to a rehabilitation center in Machang using drones last December 12. Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said the arrest was made after police received a report about a drone being flown above the center area at 1:05 a.m.
According to Zaki, the center, which is installed with the tracking device technology, detected the drone operated in an area near the prison in Jalan Kuing Indah, Kampung Pakal Meleret, Machang. He added that the 3 suspects fled in a Honda CR-V and sped away upon seeing authorities arriving before they were arrested near the main Kuala Krai Kota Baru Road in Kampung Bukit Belah, Machang. Following a check in the car, Muhammad Zaki said the police found 5 mobile phones, 2 units of power bank, a machete, 20 firecrackers, a type of dagger known as badik, and a roll of double tape. Also found were the RC-123 drone remote control device, 13 packets of tobacco, and 41 small compressed packages believed to contain tobacco. He said all the suspects, aged between 35 and 39, were charged in the Machang Magistrate Court last December 19th under Section 58 Subsection 1 of the Prisons Act 1995 and Rule 140 of the Malaysian Civil Aviation Regulations 2016 and the Section 6 of the Corrosive Substances, Explosive and Dangerous Weapons Act 1957. Muhammad Zaki said it is an offence to fly a drone without a permit from the Civil Aviation Department.
Welcome back, and now on to our global affairs. International travellers to China will no longer need to do a nucleic acid test for COVID-19 upon arrival starting from January 8, 2023. The General Administration of Customs announced on Wednesday, however, they will be required to declare the result of the nucleic acid test taken within 48 hours before entry.
On the same day, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, CAAC, said that it will steadily step up the resumption of international passenger flights to meet the needs of international travelers and promote foreign trade. Policies such as limiting each operational foreign airline to one inbound route and a maximum of one trip per week would be cancelled as of January 8, 2023. The CAAC added that inbound flights will no longer be defined as high risk, and the 75% passenger load factor limit for inbound flights will be cancelled from January 8, 2023. However, flight operators are still required to continue personal protection and health monitoring. The flight crew are still be required to wear masks, and passengers will also be urged to wear masks.
A fire at a casino in a Cambodian border town popular with Thai gamblers has killed at least one person. A Thai provincial governor said on Thursday, December 29, that 32 others are being treated in hospitals in neighboring Thailand.
However, Cambodian local news outlet Fresh News reported the fire had killed 10 people. It could not be immediately confirmed if those numbers were correct. Footage filmed by Cambodian broadcaster PNN TV showed a massive blaze engulfing a building at the Grand Diamond City complex in Phoi Phet, located on the border of Thailand. A Cambodian police statement said the fire had started at around midnight on December 28, while Provincial Police Chief Siti Loh said the casino had about 400 people working at the time. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
On to the next highlight. Among all species that were highlighted by the World Wildlife Fund WWF this year, reindeers and penguins are struggling with the population decline due to an increasing number of threats. The organization said that both species are now in the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species, which comprise more than 42,100 animals and plants.
Back in 2007, in the Taimyr region of the Russian Arctic, held the world's largest population of wild reindeer. Now, there are only a quarter of them remaining. According to WWF, climate change and poaching were the main causes for their decline. The organization also highlighted emperor penguins, saying that nothing had been done to protect the penguins this year. They further said that with the current levels of greenhouse gas emissions, emperor penguins would likely be at risk of extinction by 2100. On the flip side, WWF laid out positive examples of species conservation, which includes the tiger population in Nepal and the humpback whales in Australia, which are now recovering well. Nevertheless, more measures are needed to ensure the protection of all species, both animals and plants.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring the latest news updates both locally and internationally. More headlines anytime at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Shao Shamato. Thank you for watching.